thing that tops your visiting our school this morning is the fact that the sun is shining. So hope you all agree that we can all put a little spring in our step with some sunshine around. So we are grateful you're joining us this morning. This is a wonderful group. How many of you have been inside this school before? A couple of you, and a couple of you, this will be a very new experience for you. One thing you'll note is the very colorful nature of this school. Barely any beige around here, just a lot of great colors, so that's one unique portion of this school building. My name is Deanne Conrad. I'm the Community Relations Supervisor for the school district, and I see many familiar faces. Those of you who are new this time, would you just show us your hands if this is a first visit for you with Gold Card? Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming out and sharing some time with us this morning. Want to say a special thank you to our community education gals that make this all happen. Of course, Melody Kloiber, Helen Faye, and Maritza Carrizales. Little fun fact, Maritza's son is in school here in the building. So, and you'll hear lots of other fun facts along the way. So, with that, I will introduce Tracy Beek, who is the principal of Sonia Sotomayor. She has a presentation for you to share some of the unique qualities about this school. So, Tracy. Thank you.
Welcome. I don't know if any of you risked sitting on one of these, but these are a godsend for kids, but not so much for adults. But they really help you get the wiggles out, which is really kind of nice. But what we found at staff meetings is that staff find themselves wiggling on the floor sometimes because it takes by surprise. So we were trying to warn people not to sit on those necessarily, but it's just one more innovative way to allow flexible seating for kids that sometimes when they can wiggle their little body, they can focus a lot better on what is happening. I am excited to have you all here. We love showing up our school. Jacqueline Liney is our admin intern, and she is half-time here and half-time at Eugene Field, which is the A+ infusing the arts into the school. Jacqueline's degrees are in Spanish and in music, so she's been a Spanish teacher and a music teacher. So I believe she was God's gift to our two schools. We get her half-time, she gets to use both of her passions every single day in between the two buildings. So Jacqueline is fluent in Spanish. The principal is not yet, but Duolingo told me yesterday I'm 31%. So I know a lot of vocabulary and I can string together sentences, but the good news is I have about 600 tutors that help me every day. One just made fun of me in the hallway with a first grader. I can handle that. So we do just want to welcome you, Benito, to our school. So we have 646 students preschool through 5th grade here, and we have 70 staff members that are from 15 different countries. And so, as you can imagine, our kids are blessed with a wide variety of cultures. Three of our 4 custodians, one custodian's from the United States, one's from Bosnia, one's from Nepal, and one is from Mexico. And so they also teach the kids some different things about culture as well, especially our little gal from Mexico. She comes in an hour early, 3 days a week, and mentors different students. And she does a lot of reading with students, and she loves talking with the kids in the afternoons while they're here. Our mission here is to develop lifelong multilingual learners with a cultural background and problem-solving skills to succeed in an ever-changing world. And I put multilingual in there. Our staff all agreed with this, that it was very important not just to say bilingual. We do have students that are from different countries that have their native language is not English. We have German, Italian, French, Swedish, and Russian, and so, and Chinese. So, but And we also know that when our kids hit high school, more than likely they're going to take a third or a fourth language, because our kids will never take Spanish 1 or 2. Those of you that remember taking Spanish 1, I do. I remember levanta la mano. That means raise your hand. I can't imagine why I would have been told that so many times in the grade in my life for 40 years, but it did. But our kids are learning what is in Spanish 1 and 2 in kindergarten and first grade, which is a shocker to a lot of students. That's why we love bringing in high school students that are taking Spanish 3 or 4, because they're always blown away by our students here, which is always fun. So the timeline of this program, in 2006, I will never forget when Dr. Pam Holman walked in and said, "Have I got a great idea?" I was in professional development at the district at that time, and we were blown away that we would do that. We already had 76 languages spoken in our district, so we do English immersion very, very well with our ELL students. And so she formed a committee. They decided that the language would be Spanish. And in 2008, one kindergarten class of 25 students started at Rosa Parks. It was only ever intended for this program to be one section each year. But by the second year, they had over 50 applicants. And by the third year, they had over 75 applicants. And so what happened is they expanded to Robert Frost, which allowed more people to be able to take the program. Rosa Parks is as far east as you can get in the school district and still be in the school district. So if you lived on the west side of town or even in the center of town, you needed to have some resources to be able to get your child all the way over to Rosa Parks and then back every day. And so when we expanded to Robert Frost, then that allowed much more people, even neighborhood people, to be able to participate as well. In fall of 2016, this beautiful building was open, and we are in our second year. Those of you that are familiar with Jefferson Elementary was actually where our playground was, and where our current building is where their playground was. And so it's just a little bit different. It's a brand new building. Jefferson wasn't equipped. Their rooms were a lot smaller, so it would cost more to renovate Jefferson than it would have to build a new building. So here we are, and we do not take that lightly. We love this beautiful building. So what is Spanish immersion? They're English-speaking children who wish to be bilingual. Every child must be fluent in English. So if your first language is French, or your first language is Russian, or your first language is Spanish, then you must pass the WIDA exam, proving that you are fluent in English to be able to come here. All of our classroom instruction occurs in Spanish beginning in kindergarten. Students read, write, listen, and speak Spanish as their day goes on. We use exactly the same curriculum as they do across the other 23 elementary schools in Sioux Falls. It's just that it's in Spanish. So when you walk into our classrooms later, you're going to see things that are on the walls in the hallways or in the classrooms that look very familiar or similar to other classrooms. However, it's in Spanish. So everything in our classrooms is Spanish. We don't have any books in our libraries in the classrooms that are in English. However, in here, the outside ring are all English books, and those inside bookshelves are all in Spanish, and students check out a book in Spanish and a book in English. We have learned that you use a lot of repetition, modeling, and gestures to teach the language, just like they do in our ELL program. So we follow the SIAP model as well. In kindergarten through second grade, their day is 90% in Spanish and 10% in English. In third through fifth grade, it's 80% in Spanish and 20% in English. Sixth through eighth grade, they head over to Edison, and it's 45% in Spanish and 55% in English. At Edison, they take social studies, science, and Spanish language arts all in Spanish. Then the rest of their day, they're just in the mainstream of English language arts and math and all their encore classes. And then our very first group of kindergartners are now ninth graders, and they are taking a social studies class. They'll also take 2 AP classes while they're there and another, but as you all know, if having kids go through high school, they only have an opportunity to take 24 high school credits, and 22 of them are prescribed by the state of South Dakota. So they don't have a lot of options. What we needed to do then was give them opportunities to take a required social studies, but take it in Spanish. English language arts or language instruction begins in 3rd grade. That is the very first time that we teach English here as a class. When the parents sign up on their application form, they sign off that says they agree to be the primary teachers of English for kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade until we can pick up in 3rd grade. The reason it starts in 3rd grade is because that's when the Smarter Balanced assessment starts, and we're required, just like every other 3rd grader in the state of South Dakota, to take that test in English. And so what happens, they get 45 minutes in a small group instruction. Half of the class goes to Spanish language arts and half of the class has English language arts, and then they swap. So they get some really small group instruction. In 4th and 5th grade, it goes up to 55 minutes each day in English language. They focus on vocabulary, spelling, sentence structure, and writing, all of those things that are very different in the Spanish language and the English language. They focus on those. Also, the academic vocabulary they're going to need on those statewide assessments. So, 10 reasons to learn a foreign language. We just have some little photos of some of our students in here, and you can see that the classrooms look just like any other classroom here. To improve self-confidence. Learning a new language increases confidence levels, allowing you to face your fears, interact more, and meet new people. This is a photo of 3 of our kindergarten students in our Carnival celebration. Carnival is celebrated in 11 different countries, but it's celebrated very, very different in those countries. We decided we would have, this was our first year celebrating Carnival, and the teachers taught their students either a song or a dance or an activity of what they do in their country during Carnival. And we decided we would put on a show in the evening. We heard from a lot of parents, is this mandatory, is this mandatory? So we were thinking we would get maybe half of the students and their families showing up. Oh no. We had several hundred people, because not only did the kids and their parents show up, grandparents came, and the husband of one of our teachers came up and he said, "This is exactly like Carnival. It is loud and it is crowded and it is fun." So we had our friends at the Manna Bakery make up a bunch of different kind of traditional food from El Salvador, which were a huge, huge hit as well. Hopefully we brought them lots of business because people were raving about that. But these boys were the caboose of their class. To improve your brain health, you're able to make better decisions, your brain is more flexible, develop understanding and appreciation of other cultures, your creative skills are enhanced, you develop strong perseverance skills, and we see this all the time. We have many, many kids who just don't give up. Any of you that are familiar with special education testing, our school psychologist has just been with us. This is our 2nd year. And never before in his 15-year career has anybody ever said, "Could you just give me a couple more minutes? I know I can figure this one out." So that's been blowing him away, because our kids wanted just a few more minutes, because they're continually trying to navigate through the Spanish language and the English language as well. They have a higher level of complex problem-solving skills. Another reason is to enhance your knowledge of the English structure and vocabulary. Students who learn a foreign language are also able to build their vocabulary in their native tongue, helping them better express themselves in writing and in conversations. Those of you that know Kate Parker, our school board president, this happens to be her little chair when he was in 1st grade. To develop analytical thinking, research has shown that language students can process more complex problems faster and more efficiently. This allows students to be flexible and excel in every aspect of their lives. They score higher on standardized tests, such as Smarter Balanced, the Sioux Falls School District 4th grade writing assessment, the ACT, and the SAT. And I bet you all want to see some proof of that. So we put it in here. Now I tried to make these just a little bit different color. This is our assessments from last year. So we have 3rd grade, and the state of South Dakota is 1st, the Sioux Falls School District is 2nd, and Spanish immersion is 3rd. Then I have 4th grade and 5th grade. So you can see that in math, the state of South Dakota had 54% of their students proficient in math. We had 74%. And I will tell you, the academic vocabulary in math is very, very different. So between English and Spanish. And so our students did a great job, even with a language barrier there. 48% were proficient in reading, while 54% of our students. You can see the research shows that students typically fall behind in a Spanish immersion program, or any immersion program, lag behind their same age peers for 2 to 3 years after their native language is introduced. But you can see that that's not happening right here at our school. And so we're really impressed with our writing. That doesn't mean we're not after those 24% that aren't, but we do have a lot of interventions as well that happen at our school. So that's pretty exciting. This I'm extremely excited about. We did the 4th grade writing assessment. As you can imagine, writing is even more difficult than what reading is for our students. And you can see that overall in the district, they scored, our 4th graders scored a 2.83 on the district writing assessment. Oops, did I touch that?
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry, I won't touch it again, I promise. So here are the Challenge Center, which is our gifted ed population, the top 5% in our district, scored a 3.89. Our students were a 3.41. And then I put it, Harvey Dunn, Pettigrew, John Harris were the next 3 in line. And so we're very, very proud of our students there, which especially conventions was a strong area for us. We had many. Voice was a strong one. That's that whole vocabulary and navigating between the 2 languages. But we're very excited about that. And then science. Last year's Dakota Step Science, the state of South Dakota was at 52, and we had 71%. So very exciting things for us. Another reason is to improve overall school performance. Learning a language trains your mind to think in a certain way, improving the way you pick up other skills too. Students become more flexible in their thinking and gain better test scores. Research conducted as early as 1982 states IQ results of students tested yearly showed a general trend in which the IQ scores of immersion students increase, which is a very interesting stat there too. I'm writing my dissertation on comparing our students with another group of students and the district in a building of similar demographics. And so I got a lot of nice facts that I need to throw in there. And I'll tell you what, I'm tickled pink by those scores that were shown. You can expand your job and career opportunities. The world is changing. Businesses are extending their reach to around the world, especially with the internet, the World Wide Web. Everybody is in your back door. We have parents here that have clients all over the world, and that's just a reality. We're developing a bilingual workforce that is experienced in communicating and collaborating in 2 different languages. And there are currently 23 million jobs in the United States that require dual language fluency. One of the exciting things about our program here, no matter what your intellectual ability, when you graduate from high school after being in a Spanish immersion program for 13 years, you immediately have more opportunities than a monolingual person. Because there are kids that are going to go on to college and they're going to go into the military and they're going to do great things, but there's also kids who might go work at Citibank or John Morale or at a landscaping company or Walmart even, that are going to have better opportunities because they're bilingual. They will get to use what they've learned K through 12 immediately upon graduating from high school. And so we had some students here. We had a little gal that her IQ was a 72. And she will never probably be fluent proficient in English, in reading or writing in Spanish or English. But I will tell you what, she is going to have so many more opportunities because she can speak and understand both languages. We are a public school. Yes, sir.
So do you have a resource room?
We sure do. We have 1.5 resource room teachers.
Are they in Spanish or English? Or?
The 0.5 is not. The full-time special education teacher I stole from Edison Middle School when I was there because she's fluent in Spanish. And so she provides, they do have a specific curriculum now that is provided in English, but she can push in to any of those classrooms, like in a math classroom, and she can speak right alongside and co-teach with the teacher, which is really exciting. But our primary, your disability is in English, and so we want to make sure that we can help them get up to speed or learn strategies in their native language as well. So we sure do. To increase your earning power, there's a high demand for bilingual individuals who can expand their network. One thing, this is Cole, he was one of our chauffeurs and our chaperone, what do I want to say? Hosts,
Right.
ushers. There we go, something that we're leading you in. The first week of school is when the hurricane hit Texas, and so our 5th grade leadership team said we should do a penny drive. Well, in 48 hours, we raised $2,689, and so that was pretty exciting. But this picture fits pretty well right there too. To completely transform your travel experience, every year our 5th graders get to go on a 3-day trip to Concordia Language Villages in Bemidji, Minnesota. If you've never been there, it's absolutely amazing. There's several different villages. One is Finnish, one is Swedish, one is French, one is Portuguese, one is Spanish, and the whole village is created in that. So like all the buildings are Spanish, all the decor is Spanish in nature, all the food that's served is in Spanish, all the signage is in Spanish. I did go for a week. They assess you on your way in, they ask you some questions, and then they put you in different groups. And there was a group of 9 ladies that were 70 or older that come there every year for vacation. Now, you know, we don't do ability grouping, but I will tell you, there was definitely a bluebirds group and a buzzard group, and I was the buzzard. Very low skills, but I learned a lot that was there. And our kids save up, and they get to go on a 3-day excursion, and every year we hear back from Concordia Language Villages that your children are amazing, which is fun, because we know that, but we love other people to tell us that too. To develop a lifelong ability to communicate with persons from other countries, we've got Spain, Chile, and Puerto Rico represented in that photo. Especially when introduced in elementary years, students experience additional benefits of increased cognitive skills, higher achievement in other academic areas, and higher standardized test scores. So, why should students learn a second language? Look, they have little telephones just like we had all over in Hayward too, right? Do you mind clicking on that link? Oh, well, all right. That's all right. It's just more. We also have interns that are here, and we'll see those throughout the building. They are education majors that are either in their last year of an education program or their first year graduated from an education program. They're between the ages of 21 and 29. They come here for 10 months from a native Spanish-speaking country, and they live with a host family. So they're like a cross between a foreign exchange student and a student teacher. We have a full-time intern in every one of our kindergarten classrooms because most of those kids are coming in with very little Spanish skills, and they think their teacher's crazy. So there's 2 of them to corral. Corralling 25 kindergartners would be a job all in itself. But when you don't get to speak the same language as they do, that can make it even more difficult. They come to improve their English, to learn about our system here, and to share life with partner family as well. I know Ben's been a partner family before too, and it's a great experience for them. What I love is that once they go home, they can apply for teaching positions, and currently of our 24 teachers, we have 7 of them that are they are previous interns. I'll tell you, our interns, one thing about them, they are absolutely fabulous, but when the temperature hit 40 degrees, they were in parkas and mucklucks and snow pants, and they said, "When do we get to stay in from recess?" And I said, "Oh, when it hits 0. They were blown away by that. I said, "Trust me, there is going to come the day this school year when you think 30 degrees is a heat wave." And they said, no. Guess what? Come February, it certainly did. They were like, woo, stripping off the parkas at 30 degrees, ready to suntan. They didn't think it was possible. Yep.
So retention then of staff.
Yes.
If they're, many of them are from a long ways from home.
We just try to marry them off to English people.
You never know.
We got 3 of them engaged to English people right now. I'm just kidding. I'm
The
joking.
reason I bring that up, Shirley and I were on a flight to New Orleans earlier in the winter, and we sat next to a young lady who teaches at Edison
Oh, wow.
in the Spanish immersion program.
Awesome.
And she'd been there for just a year, but I think she was resigning to go back home
To Spain. Yep.
And that's why I was wondering.
Yeah, Edison only has 5 people there that are teachers from of Spanish immersion, where we have a whole community of folks here. We do, you know, from Puerto Rico, we have 2 teachers from Puerto Rico, so there's no visa, but our district does an incredible job of helping teachers get a visa, and then to also help them and support them along the way. So we can usually get them here between 1 and 5 years, but we have been extremely lucky at the elementary level to be able to retain great teachers. I only needed to hire 2 new ones for next year, and that's because we're adding 2 sections.
Do we have to give any financial incentives
Nope.
to draw someone from another country?
No. Several of our teachers taught in North Carolina before they came here. I think we have 5 teachers that did that before they came here, and so when they come here, we just get to renew the visa, and we're good to go. So we're very fortunate. This is a great place to work, and I mean, Sioux Falls in general, and our community takes pretty good care of everyone, so it's a wonderful thing. We do have 2 non-native speakers. Everybody has to pass a fluency test, and so one is from Vermilion, and the other one is from Sioux Falls. Her mom was a high school Spanish teacher for years at Lincoln. This is our awesome crew this year, and they are from Spain, Colombia, Bolivia, and El Salvador. Any questions right now? Because we have some special guests that are in the hallway.
Every language has a different sentence structure.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the noun comes before the verb before the noun, or whatever. Now, are I correct in saying that the younger children speak primarily Spanish?
In
Yes,
school?
In school.
Yeah, until we don't.
So
yeah.
do they have any trouble with their English structured sentences?
Well, we have some kindergarten students here to show off for you, but, and they're waving quite a bit. So their whole world is in English. You know, when they leave here, mom and dad usually speak English. Their TV, their radio, the stores, everything, their play groups are all in English. And so they really, I think it's more difficult for them in the Spanish language than it is, but they don't know any different.
So speaking, they speak correct English.
Oh, yeah.
But writing, I guess I'm just curious.
Yeah, that is a big thing that they teach. That is also wonderful to see that our conventions are as strong as they are, because that is one of the most difficult things, is where you put the verb, and you might be able to add more to that. Because adjectives are one of the biggest things for me too, is it always comes after, like.
Yeah, so those are flipped. Most of the sentence structures are really similar between English and Spanish, but like you said, the adjectives usually come after the noun when you're speaking Spanish. So that sort of thing would be a little different.
Is that confusing to the children then?
You know, I haven't noticed it, and I think it's kind of what Tracy was saying, is that like they're so used to, at school, they just speak in Spanish, and that's just how it's done there. At home, since they're getting English for, you know, all summer, all the weekends, and the evenings with their families, they're not going to mess up their English from that. When they're learning the new language in Spanish, I'm sure there's a little bit of flip at the beginning, but then usually they catch on pretty quickly.
They don't know what another kindergarten even looks like. Somebody said, well, we had an 8th grader that was on our panel last week, advisory, and she said, Spanish is way, way easier because all the vowels have one sound. She said, she goes, when I learned English, I said to my parents, why did we screw up our language so bad? This reading is really hard. And so that was kind of funny that they had that theory there. Do you have a question?
I was just going to say, we have a granddaughter in kindergarten she's going first grade now. And last year, you know, I kind of prompted her to see what she was doing, and she really couldn't speak any Spanish.
They
that I
usually
could tell.
won't speak Spanish outside of school.
But she could read Spanish and seemed to pick up a little bit of that. And now this year, she does speak a little bit of Spanish, not a lot. But really, she's very, very good in English. It doesn't seem to have affected the English at all.
Melody, do you want to have those guys come? Yeah. Any other questions while we bring in our guests? Or our stars? So these are kindergarten students, and we purposely are bringing in kindergarten students because they all came in speaking only English. For some of you that know Pam Pullman, She was our superintendent. And this happens to be, come on in, ladies and gentlemen. Come on up. So Naomi, there's a lot of your grandma's friends in here. Do you want to give a little wave? On the second day of school, Naomi said, "Don't worry. I told all my friends my grandma started this program." Pretty cool. So this is Jennifer Castejo. She is in her 4th year of teaching with us. She is from Puerto Rico and teaches kindergarten. So these students all came in speaking English. They're going to show off a little bit for us. See? Do you guys want to sit? Do you want me to get you some seats? Do you want to sit on a circle?
Yeah.
You want the seats? Okay. Oops. So you guys can face your teacher if you want, whatever you want set up. Okay, one more. Aren't you glad we didn't leave those as the only chairs for you guys? I noticed those get closer. Okay, all right. First of all, can you just let everybody know your names? Avery, Oliver, Naomi, Luciana, and Owen. Welcome. Many of these folks used to be teachers at one time too. Others just came because they want to learn all about your awesome school. How's that sound? Good. All right. Good.
Can you use a big voice so that some of these people can hear it? Can you use a big voice?
Use your playground voice.
Yes.
Oso pardo que ves ahí. Veo un pájaro rojo que me mira a mí. Pájaro rojo que ves ahí. Veo un pato amarillo que me mira a mí. Pato amarillo que ve ahí. Veo un caballo azul que me mira a mí. Caballo azul, que ves ahí. Veo una rana verde que me mira a mí. Rana verde que ves ahí. Veo un gato morado que me mira a mí. Gato morado que ves ahí. Veo un perro blanco que me mira a mí. Perro blanco que ves ahí. Veo una oveja negra que me mira a mí. Oveja negra que ves ahí. Veo un pez dorado que me mira a mí. Pez dorado que ves ahí. Veo a la maestra que me mira a mí. Maestra que me ven ahí. Veo a los niños que me miran a mí. Niños que ven ahí. Vemos un oso pardo, un pájaro rojo, un pato amarillo, un caballo azul, una rana verde, un gato morado, un perro blanco, una oveja negra, un pez dorado y a nuestra maestra que muy contenta nos ve sonreír.
Brown bear. Yeah, I was going to say. Many of us have read that many times. Avery, Great job. Can you remind everybody here how old you are?
6.5.
6.5. Didn't she do an awesome job?
Les voy a hacer una pregunta y van a contestar, ¿saben? En una oración simple, dime cuál fue el animal que más te gustó. ¿Cuál animal viste que más te gustó? Sí, con este libro. Una oración simple. Me gusta o yo veo cuál es el animal que más te gustó del libro. Oración simple primero. Dime.
El gato.
Pues entonces escribe una oración simple que diga me gusta el gato. Oliver, ¿estás pensando? Entonces escribe una oración simple. Yo, en tú.
Pájaro.
¿De qué color era el pájaro?
Azul.
¿Azul era el pájaro? A mí me parece que era otro color. Rojo. Escribe la oración. ¿Te gusta el pájaro rojo? Dime.
Me gustan los perros.
¿Puedo verlo? ¿Puedes mostrar tu pizarra? Déjame ver.
Caballo.
El caballo. ¿De qué color era el caballo?
Azul.
Azul. Cuando termines, me muestra tu oración.
She likes the dogs.
Didn't mean to show off.
If you know it, you know it.
Right?
Yeah.
She likes the dogs. I like the dogs.
My husband keeps saying, didn't we go to kindergarten and just learn to color and cut and paste? They're writing sentences in kindergarten in Spanish. I said, they're writing paragraphs in Spanish in kindergarten now. So, oh, how the times change. Purple cat. I like the purple cat. See? Me gusta gato morado. It's purple.
I like the
En español es muy bien, ¿sí? Luciano? Sí, yeah.
The thing that's the most impressive is when she speaks Spanish. It's perfect. It's the accents there.
Yeah.
It's just very good.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting for these kids too. So Senor Castello is from Puerto Rico. Next year they could get a teacher from Colombia or Spain or let's see what else we have, Venezuela in first grade. And so they'll learn different vocabularies or different accents because sometimes there's just something different. And we have third and fourth graders that can say, oh, I can tell your accent. You're from Colombia. And wow, how do they know that? But just through the years, they could get exposed to many different dialects. And just like we have that here in the United States, there's some different dialects across the South and up here too, and just the same with their with Spanish, which is really exciting.
Niños pueden lograr una más de matemáticas.
Sure.
Listo. Niños, voy a decirte una historia de matemática y lo vas a escribir la ecuación ahí, ¿vale? ¿Sí? Excelente. Listo. Había 10 perros y se fueron 5. ¿Cuántos perros quedan ahora? Se fueron 5. Habían 10, se fueron 5. Quiero ver la ecuación. Quiero ver si es suma o resta. ¿Qué es? ¿Suma o resta?
Suma.
Habían 10 perros, se fueron resta. Muy bien. Quiero ver la ecuación. 10 menos 5 igual a 5. Dilo tú misma, habla. ¿Puedes explicarlo en español?
Can you say it out loud? Tell us what it says. Can one of you?
Avery, ¿puedes explicar? En español.
Tengo 10 perros y se fueron a 5 y con 5.
¿Puedes mostrarlo con tus manos? ¿Cómo fue? Tenías 10, se fueron 5, quedan 5. Excelente. Una más. ¿Quieres mostrarle una que sepas muy alta a ellos?
Una difícil. Muéstrale. La que tú quieras. ¿Quieres mostrarle una, Amy? ¿Una difícil? No. Oliver, ¿quieres mostrar una difícil? Bueno, voy a decir otra. Tenía 20 perros y llegaron 5 más. ¿Cuántos perros tengo ahora? 20 y 5 más. ¿Es suma o resta? Suma o resta.
Tengo 100 perros y se fueran 100.
¿Y cuántos te quedan?
0.
Muy bien, excelente.
Doing a little math.
100.
One thing, our teachers do not, you will notice too on the tour, they do not slow down their speaking at all. They just continue to talk. Some think we talk fast in English. Well, let me tell you what. We do in Spanish too, but they talk as they normally would if we were teaching. Yep. Does your teacher speak English? No? Yeah, un poquito. Oh, only un poquito. So in the classroom, it is solo español. Starting at second semester of first grade, then there's solo español in the classroom, which is very impressive. And we'll get to see some of those. The only place we can't go is to third grade today because they're testing. But that's okay, because we can go to everywhere else. Wow, look at that. Doing some math. 15 minus 10 equals 5. 100 minus 100 equals 0. 100 plus 100 equals 200. You guys are doing a great job. Yo tengo 100 peros y... Krista, anybody have any questions for our young stars? Yes,
I
Doctor.
have a question for our, I didn't want to say old star, but
I can handle it.
older.
Oh, yeah.
How do you do drop-ins and evaluations?
You know, after 4 years, I can pick up on a whole lot of Spanish, but the one thing I will tell you, they've always told us when we're doing drop-ins is to focus on student engagement and student learning, not on teaching. That's been the big shift in the last, 5 to 10 years is focus on student engagement, and I'm forced to focus on student engagement, and that's exactly what I do. So I'm able to go up and ask, the students what they're learning today. The actual evaluations are way easier because I have a lesson plan and a pre-observation form all filled out in English. And so I know the questions that they're asking. And so therefore it's much easier for me. She and our instructional coach both know Spanish very well. So when they do them, it's not a problem at all for them. But we split it up then too. It's more in a non-traditional way that they may do in other schools. But we make sure she does half the drop-ins, I do half the drop-ins. And then we talk about those afterwards as well for each particular person. But that is the one thing that I've really noticed, and we had a great discussion at an elementary principals meeting about that, is about not about teaching, because it isn't about what the teacher spews, it's about what actually is absorbed by the kids. And that is what I do, is I spend my time really looking at the kids and seeing are they staying engaged, which is wonderful. It's wonderful. And I'm learning a lot more Spanish. So that's good too. Oh, sorry. Woo, that's okay, going.
You almost were holding.
I know. That wouldn't have been fun if I would have sat right on your lap with it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. You want to say this is somebody? Yeah. All right, so Owen, come here. Miss Melody is going to give you something, and you need to just go pick a person to give it to, okay? Anyone in the room.
Anybody out here?
Okay? There you go. You too, Lucia.
Actually, Owen. Owen, here. You can give that to 2 different people.
All right. Okay, Naomi, you get to give the envelope to one, and that to someone else.
Okay.
Oh, how fun.
Come around to them.
Thank you.
Whoops. There you go. They could be for water or coffee or pop like that.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Naomi, you can give the envelope to somebody else, okay? There you go. So, what was really fun is Miss Warner walked in the door this morning, and and our IEP facilitator slash kindness ninja yelled really loud, "This is order!" She taught German to our IEP facilitator in Howard, South Dakota? Yes, Howard, South Dakota. How cool is that? So she said, I don't usually get greeted that way with somebody yelling and whooping when she walked in the door, but we were fortunate to get a picture of them together. Still have one? Oh, yeah. Oh, anywhere?
Maybe.
Just anywhere. Who knew this was so difficult? Thank you. Can we give a round of applause? You guys did a great job. Oh, no. Adios.
We were in the hallway and I was trying to calm them a bit before they came in, and I said, how old are you guys? 5, 6, and I said, no way, I'm 5'2". And they're like, huh? I said, well, I'm 45. And one of the little girls says, well, that's 40 more years older than we are.
You're slim.
Yeah, they were demonstrating their math just right on the fly.
Well, I brought Heather Conrad from Edison Middle School over here. She wanted to change, so 19 years of middle school, came to elementary. And it was a rude awakening for her. I think she never knew she could be touched so much, because the PE teacher is well loved, much more than at middle school. Because at middle school, I have to run today, I just did my hair, I'm wearing new shoes, all those things. We heard it all at middle school and for PE. But she told all the students that I turned 80 on my birthday, and put signs up all over the school wishing me an 80th birthday. All these, and it was, my birthday was on parent-teacher conferences, so the parents kept coming in and saying, why do our kids think you're 80? I said, well, wait till you see the signs. Those are, yes, friendly teachers. But what we're going to do now is, those of you that are interested in taking a tour, and if you just want to stay on the bottom floor, that's okay, but we do have an elevator, so we can take you upstairs as well. We'll give you a little tour through some classrooms. Kindergarten, if we need to get to KO4 with those 3 as soon as possible, because they're going out to recess in 10 minutes. But if you want to go in and see your granddaughter too, we'll make sure that happens as well. Do you know what class she's in? 103. 103, perfect. And one thing I would ask is, look at in the hallway at the work on the wall. You will see just the progression from kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade. The work looks very similar than some of you probably did in your classrooms. It's just that it's in Spanish. Now remember, we do have English language arts too, so there's some English things hanging on the walls as well, for sure. But any other questions before we do that? Because then we can meet back here. We'll do about probably 15 minutes. We'll go into a couple of classrooms. Our students are really good about knowing the interruptions and things, but we'll try not to speak any English in the classroom. Ask questions out in the hallway, okay? But you can walk around and look at what they're doing. That's more than fun. Sure.
Cápsulas, fila, sit. Dicen fila.
¿Me parece? Colin tiene 10 pelotas. ¿Y quién va a tomar? Daisy. Mango. Toma. 5 pelotas. ¿Cuánto tiene al final? ¿Sí? ¿Así vas a hacer tu problema? Muy bien. Una pizarra.
Ready?
A ver, dime. Ariana.
And then he ate them all, didn't he?
That. No.
boys and girls. So this story is a reminder to us that when we use sweet words like thank you, we sometimes get a little bit further, don't we? Now we're gonna play some kamochis.
Yay!